Today I want to talk to you about the NUW response to job and income security, what we believe is the big challenge for our time. I want to talk about the rise of insecure casual work as the key challenge for our union and suggest it is a significant challenge for organised labour and workers in Australia. It's worth noting a few numbers on this. In 1984, only 15% of the workforce were casual. In 2004, it had grown to 28%, and since then has continued to grow exponentially every year. Now only 60% of workers are engaged as full-time or part-time ongoing employment. Whether we call it casual, temping, contract, labour hire, cash in hand, all these forms of work are manifestations of insecure work and play out in the industries represented by our union, the NUW. This union for many, many years represented workers at 2 Kmart warehouses, one in Braeside, one in Hoppers Crossing. There were 450 direct full-time jobs in both of those warehouses. Both of those warehouses had very good conditions, very good rates of pay, some of the best in the industry, and very active union members and very active union delegates. The owners of Kmart, Wesfarmers, who bought the Coles Empire, decided to contract out their warehousing function into one warehouse to a third-party logistics supplier by the name of Toll Logistics, and to basically make all our members, all those full-time workers, redundant. But what happened is there's a bigger risk shift than that. So Kmart says, we don't want to be responsible for these workers, we're going to make Toll responsible for these workers, and Toll can do a new agreement on inferior terms and conditions, which they were able to do as a greenfields agreement. In order to push the risk further away from Toll, Toll said we're only going to employ 20% of the workers at this plant. The other 80% of the workers at this plant are going to be labour hire on worse conditions again. So we had a major hollowing out of union jobs. 450 good union jobs doing Kmart distribution today is translated to 70 direct jobs under an inferior Toll agreement, and the rest of the workers are labour hire spun in and out, week in, week out, on more inferior conditions. In the past, we bargained to control labour hire and casual labour. We had casual loadings put into our agreements and awards, some up to 33 1/3%. We had ratios of permanents to casuals. We had conversion rights. We had approved lists of labour hire providers. We had site rates of pay. We had step-up clauses. We had minimum engagements. And then work choices came along and washed that all away. Since the Fair Work Act, we have worked hard to salvage that, and we have salvaged much. We've resurrected many of those provisions, but not enough. However, we do have good examples of hope. Members at Fuji Xerox had a great story this year where they fought for secure jobs and conversion rights. We can win these fights, but we need to do it more because, to be quite honest with you, these conditions such as conversion rights, for many years we haven't policed or enforced them as well as we should have. We have not focused enough on organising these insecure workers, and in the main they were not in our union. We just hoped that if we put these clauses in agreements that the problem would go away, that the world would revert to direct full-time employment. But we found out that the world doesn't work that way, and it hasn't worked that way for some time, as the statistics we had a look at showed us. We now know we have no future as a national union of full-time workers. We must become the national union of workers. And it has become increasingly obvious to us that the use of casual workers, labour hire, was not just an economic issue for the bosses, it's a power issue. The rise of precarious indirect employment in this country works for capital, works for the employers on many levels. The labour laws that we have in this country do a good job in protecting full-time employment, but they are largely absent in protecting insecure work. So from now on, every conversation, every bargaining round, every issue, we want to talk in terms of building solidarity between casuals and permanents. We need to break down fear. Fear is best beaten by building solidarity. That's when you feel strong again. It's only after we build solidarity can we ensure that the hope will outweigh the fear felt by casual workers and insecure workers in joining the union. We're going to target the host employer. That's where the real power lies. And we need to begin by educating and spreading this issue through all our NUW sites and all our NUW members. But in time, we hope to organise significant sections of the labour hire industry in our areas. We will have to develop strategies to deal with labour hire, there's no doubt about that. There is a link between insecure forms of employment and the recent attacks on the Fair Work Act as contributing to lower productivity. If there was a genuine concern about productivity, then there would be secure employment arrangements where loyalty and trust sought from a worker is reciprocated by the employer. From this arrangement, you can really drive productive and decent workplaces. Today, we begin a long struggle to secure decent jobs for all. We will start with building solidarity and power at our sites. We will campaign with the ACTU and our fellow unions in our industries, and we aim one day to change the politics and laws of this country by being a strong union movement to win proper rights for workers, to give people dignity and justice at work. Thank you very much.